Hi, everyone. My name is Fran, and you are listening to Let's Talk About That, a Union University podcast. I co-host this show alongside my good buddy, Ted Kluck. And this week, I am so thankful for our guest. Her name is Margaret Anne Bird Neal. Margaret Anne is a local gal. She did not want to come to Union University. She was deeply invested in a Southern state school. But man, oh man, the Lord had different plans for her, and I love her boldness and her willingness to share her journey with us today. It's also so fun and fascinating to hear what she's doing today for her work because of her degrees. Yes, she has 2 from Union. She has her very own company, and we could not be more proud of her. All right, sit back. Enjoy the show. We're so glad that you're here. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Another episode. Let's talk about that. Ted, how are you?
I'm good. It's fall out, finally.
Finally.
Yeah, I know. The jackets are coming out of the closet. I'm reacquainting myself. It's been nice. Yeah.
You've never looked better and slimmer and
Dude, really slimmer. You can go on about that. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Here we are. I'm kind of hot. I'm kind of hot in this. I feel like it's a very thick sweater that I have going on, but who cares? We're just glad that everybody's here. Guess who is in the studio? Everybody listening, if you do not know this gal, and you may not, and a lot of you probably don't, but Margaret Anne Bird Neal, I had to ask you your married name. So glad to have you on the show today.
I'm so happy to be here.
You were a student.
I was.
You were a student, and you said as we were walking in that it was how many years ago?
Well, my freshman year was 10 years ago, so it's been about 6 years since I graduated.
Holy smokes.
Mm-hmm.
And your first college class was with me.
It
right?
was.
Yeah.
Yes. I got
That's
lost
crazy.
on the way there.
Were you, before getting lost and after, were you nervous?
I was terrified.
Really? Go on. How come?
Just about college or class or, well, everything felt very serious going into college. I'm like, okay, I have to be like
until you got to my
a
class.
super adult. And then I got there and I was like, okay, my professor's 10 minutes late because he had to go stop to get a Monster energy drink. So actually, it's probably not that serious and everything's fine.
Yep, everything's fine.
But it is a little intimidating.
It is. But I will say, I acclimated very quickly.
I believe that.
And so I feel like after about the first week, I was not nervous at all. I was like, actually, I'm supposed to be here and everything's fine. And this is a lot of fun.
That's so good.
Wait, you just said something, which I know why you were saying it. You said, I'm supposed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's rewind the tape just a smidge because Margaret Anne Bird, you were not coming to Union.
No, I was not.
Tell us more, my friend. What is the story behind that? Because I love, that's a common story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't want to come here or whatever, especially local because you were born and raised here in Jackson, Tennessee. But the fact that like you knew I'm not going to Union and you weren't going to Union.
Right.
Elaborate. Tell us the story.
So I would say long story short, but this is not going to be a short story. So my family had always gone to Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
My parents went there. They met there. My grandparents went there and aunts, uncles, cousins. So at the point at which I was in the like college search, everybody in my family, every bird had gone to Ole Miss up to like my great grandfather.
Wow.
So there was very much like a legacy situation there. We had also had season football tickets for, I think, like my whole life. So I had been in Oxford for 1,000 different game weekends. I was very familiar with the campus, very familiar with like going to the Grove and like the football games and just like the culture that is Oxford. And it's a very fun college town. Like there's a lot of like great restaurants. There's good shopping. The square is super cool. The campus is gorgeous. And it just felt like the natural decision.
Yeah.
So like that was always where I was going. Like there wasn't a whole lot of question about it. My parents desperately wanted me to be open-minded, and I was like, yeah, whatever. I went on a couple college visits just to appease them, but I left being like, ugh, whatever, I don't like these places. I also had grown up in Jackson, And at that point in my life, I desperately wanted to get out of the bubble that I was in. I did not love high school. I didn't really want to be stuck in that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm going to go away for college and it's going to be great. So that was pretty much that. I went into senior year thinking like, I'm going to Ole Miss. I had applied, been accepted. I had my scholarships in order. I had a roommate. We had like our dorm picked out. We were in like the thick of like picking out our bedding and, all this stuff we were going to decorate our dorm with, all this, things that you do.
Let me pause for a minute. Was the pressure on back then for an Ole Miss dorm room as it is now?
Yes, but not in the way that it is now.
Okay.
Now they like hire people.
Oh, God.
Back then we were, on Pinterest.
Okay.
So I'm going into senior year. That was just the plan, and that was it. And I was going to go to Ole Miss, and I was going to follow my parents' footsteps, and everything was going to be great. So January rolls around, and one of the pastors at my church reached out to me and my high school best friend, Mary Carolyn McCarty, and said, hey, we're taking a mission trip to Haiti with the college ministry. There's 2 spots left. Do y'all want to go? It's going to be on spring break. And my school and Union had the same spring break. And we were like, well, I mean, that could be cool. At the time, I had never been out of the country. I had never actually even been on an airplane. And it was going to be a trip with people that I had never met before. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be like one of the only high schoolers on this trip with all these college kids. And that was very intimidating. But it felt like a good opportunity. And I thought that, like God can use this in my life. Like, we're going to do it. We're going to figure it out. So we like did our fundraisers, raised our money. We go to Haiti and we get there. And not to be cliche, but like the trip like completely changed my life. And it completely changed like my perspective on faith and humanity and like the world. And so our church partners with an orphanage down there. So we go and we're working with these orphans. We're helping build new structures for their campus. We're giving like medical attention to people in the community and like going in the village and praying over people. And then at night, I mean, we're in the middle of like nowhere. There's like no cell service, no internet, no like nothing. So at night we just sat around and just like talked to each other. And I know it's a novel concept. Really.
No, it's incredible actually.
It was amazing. And I'm surrounded by these union students that seemed to me like so much older than me, but they were, I mean, really only a few years. And they were asking all these like thought-provoking, like meaningful questions like Margaret Anne, what's your story? What is God teaching you right now? What are you struggling with? And it was just very eye-opening. And that sounds like very like not very serious, but it just to me was like, these people actually care about like things that matter.
Well, I think that's what those trips are supposed to do, right? They're supposed to get you out of a comfort zone and make you think about the world in a certain way and make you think about your aspirations and your dreams in a little bit different way. So I would say it was very successful, For sure.
And I just remember thinking like, I had grown up around Union. I'd grown up around Union students, but I think that was the first time that I really realized that like these young adults are all in this environment that obviously like requires them to be good stewards of like their future. So there were people that were there that were like going to med school, that were, training to be teachers, that were going to be, entrepreneurs or like whatever they had chosen. And they were all very passionate about that. But they were also in an environment that really pushed them to be like good stewards of like their souls. And that was just very eye-opening to me. There's not a whole lot of like 19, 20, 21-year-olds that were asking questions that they were asking.
Yeah.
So I get home from that trip, and after basically telling my parents that I was not going to Union and that was not going to be a consideration, and I was tired of having the conversation, I walked into my parents' room one night and I was like, it might be a good idea just to cover our bases and be sure. I was like, maybe we need to book a tour. Mind you, I'm like a few weeks out from graduation at this point. Like, we're kind of like, it's crunch time figuring out where we're going to school, what we're doing. I'm like in the enrollment process at another university. And my mom was like, okay, great, because they wanted me to come to Union the entire time.
Interesting.
I know, which is fascinating considering
yes,
the pressure. I mean, there's real pressure and weight of a legacy of all these family members.
So I have a question. Why were they so high on union?
They just knew.
Yeah.
They just knew they knew who I was. Mm-hmm. They knew what kind of environment I needed to thrive. Sure. And I think that they really knew I was not going to get that at Ole Miss.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we go on our visit, and I don't know if this is just like a coincidence. I don't know if it was God just strategically placing these people, or if Union's enrollment is just like they have like these sneaky like tactics or whatever. I'm walking around campus, and like every person that I was on this trip to Haiti with is like randomly showing up places. Like on the sidewalk, they're like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing here?" Because I told all of them, I'm not going to Union. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So they're, our student enrollment counselor was somebody that I went to Haiti with. I'm like running into people in Kobo. And then at the end of my visit, they were like, we've set up a meeting with Dub Oliver. And I was like, what the heck am I doing in the president of the university's office? Why does he want to talk to me? Surely he has more important things to be doing. So I go in there. I've met Dub one other time. Mm-hmm. It was the 4th of July. The previous year, we met at like a barbecue, and he was like, I'm Dr. Dub. I hear you're going to be a senior. You're like trying to figure out where to go to college. We would love for you to come on a visit. He like asked about my siblings, all this stuff. And I basically was like, yeah, whatever, Dr. Dub. I'm not going to Union. Well, I go to his office, and he remembers everything that we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
He asked about my siblings by name. He knew that I had gone to Haiti with these people somehow. He was like, how was your trip? Tell me about it. Like, what did you learn? I'm like, okay, this man like really pays attention, and he really cares about people, which all like that too was just a very novel concept, because I'd gone on college tours where they were like, Margaret Bird, come right. Check in here. I'm like, yeah, that's me. So I went on that visit, put that in my back pocket, and I was just thinking about it. I was like, okay, I don't know if this is like what I'm supposed to be doing. But a couple weeks later, I have friends that are students at Ole Miss, and they're like, we know you're coming here next year. We would love for you to come stay with us, like come meet some new people so you have friends when you get here. We're going to show you around, some of the campus, because I was very familiar with like game day stuff, sure. Going to the Grove, tailgating. I was not as familiar with the actual facilities I'd be going to, where I'd be going to class, that kind of stuff. So I go down there, and I just got an entirely different perspective on what it would be like to be a student there that I did not get on a typical game day. And I remember just feeling, it just felt very dark, and it felt very hopeless in a way. And I like, that sounds dramatic, but it just felt like all of these kids were doing all of these things trying to fill this void.
Yeah.
And they were looking towards, like alcohol, partying, promiscuity, and it just was rampant, and it was everywhere. And, I'm driving home from Oxford that Sunday. It's a 2-hour drive from Oxford to Jackson. And I'm like sitting there with like no radio, no nothing, just thinking, because I'm like, I don't know if I've made the right decision. I don't know that I'm supposed to go to school there. This doesn't feel right. And so I get home, and Mom's like, how was your weekend? I was like, it was fine, whatever. I go up to my room, getting ready for school the next day, and I'm like catching up on my devotional. And I kid you not, I'm reading this passage that it had me read, and it was, I think it's Proverbs 16:9, which is, we will choose our own paths, but the Lord directs where we will go. I was like, if everything else wasn't like a glaring sign that I had been making the wrong decision with where I was going to college, that was just like the icing on the cake. So I was praying, and I was like, okay, God, like, am I hearing you like the way that I think that I am? Like, is this what you're saying to me? Like, do I need to switch directions? And I just had like complete peace, like complete confirmation, like that's what you need to be doing. And so I was like, okay, where you lead, I will follow. I go downstairs, and my parents are watching a movie in the living room. And then I was like, can I talk to y'all? They were like, yeah, what's up? I said, I think I've officially decided where I'm going to college. And they just assumed like, yeah, okay, we know you're going to Ole Miss, Margaret Anne. Like, we've had this conversation. I was like, I think I'm going to Union. And they were like, what? Mom just is crying, because she just is a crier. Go back upstairs. I'm calling Mary Carolyn, who's my best friend. And I was like, I'm picking up my phone to call her. And a call comes through to my phone from her. I was like, hey. She was like, I have great news. I was like, okay. She said, I got my last scholarship and I can go to Union. She was between 2 schools and it was down to scholarships. So she had just gotten that very last one that like she could go. She could make it work. I was like, no way. She was like, what? I said, I was just about to call you to tell you that I was going to Union. She's on the other line. She just screamed. She was like, no way. She's like, does this mean we're roommates? I was like, I guess so. So yeah. So then we very quickly had to figure out like dorm situation, enrollment, all of that stuff. We ended up being roommates and yeah. And then I had the best 4 years of college ever.
Oh, that's an amazing story.
Amazing.
How kind of the Lord to like show you on that weekend what the Ole Miss experience would really have been like for you.
Yes.
You know, and to kind of peel back the veneer of, you know, because it is such a beautiful campus and people with all the money, all the looks, all the resources in the world, all the excess and decadence you can imagine. And it is empty at the end of the day, you know? And I think your story is one that would resonate with a lot of people who have gone here. Because I know those things are in the ether when you're making that decision. So you come here, you major in business, but you took my class. How come?
I did. Well, I actually truthfully had not a whole lot of idea what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I kind of had like a direction. And so originally I came in as PR and I was PR for like a semester maybe. Yeah. And then I took a little detour to marketing, which is like, you know, same but different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so my babysitter for like most of my life was a Union student.
Okay.
She was PR. She was like, I think you'd be good at that. And I was like, good enough for me. We'll start there. And then I got here and I was like, actually close, but I think I'm going to go this direction. So that's how I ended up in marketing.
And you have your own business now?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that been like?
It has been fulfilling and challenging and scary and really cool.
Yeah. So I'm only on one form of social media and it's LinkedIn. And I feel like, shout out LinkedIn.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, no, I know. I feel like every other guy on LinkedIn is like a day crushing marketing guy. They're up at like 3:30, like putting their face into ice water and like doing their CrossFit and stuff. How do you like differentiate yourself? I feel like there's a lot of people in that field right now.
There are. I think really so many people have so much to bring to the table when it comes to marketing and even social media specifically. I think I don't know. Like, I think everybody has a specialty and you got to figure out what you're good at and you just got to run with that. And I think my like niche and all of it is helping small businesses. That's what I love. I love the relationship that comes with that. And so I think really what I do is it's just a lot of storytelling. It's just, you know, putting them on a platform to where people can get to know these businesses, these business owners and what they bring to the table and just kind of, you know, putting more eyeballs on them.
Yeah. No, that's great. So here's my big question. Union is just a big collection of small businesses. You know, every department is kind of its own small business, right? And we have to keep enough, you know, people in the classrooms to keep the lights on and the doors open and all this. And if you were in the position of marketing Union, how would you market us? And how would you storytell this whole thing in a way that could be, in a way that could be kind of exciting, kind of fresh, differentiate us from the marketplace a little bit? Do you have any thought? I know it's a huge question.
That is a huge
and really
question.
Unfair of me to like just drop that on you. But.
Well.
Or if it'd be helpful, like think about it like big and broad Union as a whole, like just start speaking into the good things, all the wonderful things like this. And then if you wanted to get like super specific about.
Don't let her off the hook, Fran. I want an answer to this question. Yeah.
I'm trying to help her.
I know.
Or just like then just focus on like a smaller piece of that particular department or, you know, because college is just higher ed is changing.
It is.
It's
a crowded marketplace.
It is. Very, and it's very, I felt very overwhelmed as a prospective student, just with so many decisions.
Yeah.
And it's probably worse now. It's probably harder.
Well, you were choosing, which a lot of people are, between a state school and the polar opposite, a private Christian school.
Yes.
And so it's just at 17 years old, like it, and now it's just like you didn't have all the social media in your ear feeding you ideas, thoughts, and what you're supposed to think and believe and know. And so anyway, okay, let's go back to Ted's original question. I was just trying to give her a minute.
That is hard. Okay, I will say, whoever does marketing here does a really good job already.
A lot of my friends over there.
Yeah, no, they do a great job.
Well, you know Ellie Pratt Schultz.
Yes.
Ellie, she's the director of marketing over there.
She does a great job. We were in school together, so that's fun. Full circle. I think for me, my perspective is really just like I was saying, it's like the storytelling. I think when you're looking at a university, you are thinking like, okay, it's just very like surface level of they have this program, they have like this, the campus is cool. Yeah. They have cool sports teams.
It's pragmatic.
They have a lot of, it's just, you're just like on paper, things look really good. And I think that's a lot of the reason I picked Ole Miss is like on paper, great school. Yeah. And it might be a really good school for somebody else, just not for me. I think what really sets Union apart is the relational aspect of it, 110%. Because I think something that you get at Union that you do not at state schools is here you really have the option to be, I guess, a big fish in a small pond. People know you. Yeah. People you walk around campus and you're saying hey to your friends and professors that remember you, and you're not in a lecture hall with 500 other kids. You have a lot more capacity to build close relationships. And really, like, your 4 years of college is 4 years of growing up a lot. And you really have a greater opportunity to be in close proximity with people that are going to just like, they're going to grow up with you. Yeah. The kids that I was in, my business classes with, I mean, we were in business classes together for 4 years. Yeah. We like sat next to each other at graduation. And I'm just thinking, I cannot believe that these like 18-year-olds at one point like are finally getting out of here, like finally going to be adults. Yeah. Because I remember who we were as freshmen. Sure. I don't think that you get that same experience, that same closeness, that same like true community at a lot of other schools. I think that is one thing that was so fundamental in making me who I am today, and so fundamental in making my college experience what it was. And I know that a lot of other students don't get that anywhere else.
That's such a great word. And something that you mentioned in there kind of piqued something in me. So you kept mentioning 4 years. And I think, conflict is the engine that powers every good story, right? And so I think the conflict in the moment that we're in Christian higher ed is, so many of the types of students that we recruit took World Civ when they were 12 years old online or whatever, and they come in with like 94 college credits already. So it's like, oh, we're happy to have you for a year and a half. But really what we're selling, and this is why I'm so interested in your perspective as a marketer, is a transformational 4-year experience that's kind of immersive. Yes. As opposed to just sort of a flyby, I'll take my major classes at Union or whatever. Right. And so I think us being able to do that well is part and parcel, not only with our survival, but with us continuing to thrive in the space that we're in.
Yeah, I think of Union in a way as kind of like an incubator for like young Christian adults, because like, yes, you can go anywhere. You can get your college credits done. You can get your degree, and you can go out into the world as a professional in whatever capacity that looks like for you. But I feel like for me, there was so much maturing that happened here in 4 years. There was so much just like, I just felt like I was being poured into constantly when it came to like biblical knowledge and like wisdom that came from people that were, obviously like students that were older than me, but also just like the faculty and the relationships that I had and people that, were rooting for me, cheering for me, like praying over me. I don't think that you get that same like nurturing and that same growth in a lot of other places.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's sure not going to happen in a year. I mean, if these 4 years matter so much that I think in a society and a culture that is just like everything's got to be so fast, right? Everything's got to be so quick. No. I would say no. This is an area we need to slow down and really nurture the whole person for these 4 years, because we've said it before lots of times on this show that we hear our president say that these 4 years are the second most formative years of your entire life outside of 0 to 5.
For sure.
The second most. And so if you're microwaving that so fast just to like hurry up and go do the thing, then I'm thinking you're missing an opportunity. These formative years don't come back, like they're gone. And so the fact that I think we should argue from a marketing standpoint of these 4 years matter, and this is why they matter, because of all of these beautiful things that you've said are taking place in a student's life, and it takes time. It takes time to grow that.
It's not just educational development. It's it's spiritual development, and that doesn't happen quickly. It happens over time, and I think we forget that a lot. And I've had people that have asked me since I graduated, like private university is like expensive, private school is expensive. Do you think that it was actually worth it after you graduated? And my answer every single time is, yeah, I would do it 10 times over. I would choose union every single time. In every single way, I would always do it again.
I love this. I love this so much. Okay. Did you got this? You said, okay, I'm going to get a degree in marketing. Did you have any idea what you were going to do after you graduated? What were you envisioning and seeing Margaret Anne doing once you got that diploma?
So I kind of knew. I didn't really know how to like put it into action steps, but I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I have always loved social media. I have always found it to be great fun. And I know that it can be bad in, excess, and, we all know this. But I was always good at it. So I kind of hoped that in some capacity I could use that. I will say my senior year, I did not want to graduate. I did not want to go be an adult. I cried every single day of spring semester my senior year because I was like, all my friends were, going to get married, and they were like, I'm going to go off and get this job. And I was like, you idiots, we're having the best time ever. And you want to cut this short? What is wrong with y'all? So I kind of prolonged my time as a student by deciding that I needed to get an MBA. So I did do that immediately after graduation. And so I did, which was during COVID, and, that was not the most fun. But, did it online. That was great. I actually made friends during, like, my MBA, like, virtually that I still talk to. So I did that. And then I really didn't know what I was doing. Didn't really know what I was doing after that. And so I had a job temporarily. I was like working for my dad part-time and working for another job full-time that neither one of them were really like terribly fulfilling. And I got to a point where I realized, I actually have to make money and I actually need to figure out my career. And so I just decided to be very prayerful about that. And I was like, all right, God, can you please just like give me some clarity of like how to get where I need to be. And I don't know if y'all know who Jordan Dooley is. She's an author. Yeah. She had this, I want to say it was like an online course, and it was basically, I don't even remember what it was titled or really what all it was about, but it was, the gist of it is, it's like this course trying to figure out like what to do with your career. Like if you're trying to like get to the next place, like how to figure out what your next step is. And I remember she put this like Venn diagram up, and it was like things that you are good at, things you can make money doing, and things that you're passionate about. And she was like, you need to figure out what's in the middle of that and pursue that. And I was like filling out my Venn diagram, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I could actually just do social media marketing. Like, I wonder if I could just do that. And so I started thinking about it, and I was like, okay, people are going to talk about me, and people are going to be like, why does this girl think she can go and start her own business? And I was like, that might be a little bit embarrassing. Do I care? I don't think so. And so I kind of like sat on it for a minute, and then I went and told my boss, I was like, I'm giving you my 2 weeks. I'm starting a business. And she was like, do you have like everything done? Like how? I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out. I was like on Google at 2 a.m. How to get a business license, how to start an LLC, and I just
went for it.
Yeah, just did it.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. And so you start getting clients, you start doing the work.
Yes.
And it just kind of takes off word of mouth. That's so good. So I have a conceptual question about social media.
Okay.
And kind of divorce this idea from marketing for a second, because I know social media has a lot of utility in the marketing space. It's a good way to like get people to buy things. What's the redeeming thing about it to you? Like you said, you like it apart from marketing. And I know people like you who really thrive there and do a good job there and enjoy it. So, like, what should I tell my students about what's redemptive about social media?
Well, I know you said aside from marketing, but I will say it is, I think, the most impactful tool for any business to use.
Okay.
Obviously, that doesn't answer your question.
No, I don't disagree, though. Yeah.
I do think that it is an incredible source of information. Now, granted, sometimes it's not always accurate and trustworthy, and we know we can't trust everything on the internet. But I think that especially this younger generation is going to TikTok and Instagram for like how to cook a pot roast, how to blah, blah, blah.
Dude, 100%.
Before they're going to like Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, Google may die.
So we had this conversation in class, and I want to get your take on this. I think my students now are the first students who have grown up with content, not shows and movies.
That's correct.
So they don't have a Gen Z sitcom. There's no Friends or Seinfeld or whatever, Cheers for their generation. Because they've grown up consuming content.
Influencers.
Right? Yeah. And so
that's the celebrities now.
That's it. To them, the magical thing to do is produce content. And so there's kind of this tension between, do you become great at something or do you just become great at like, curating content in a certain area, even if the making of the content becomes every bit as much of a 9-to-5 as the 9-to-5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I guess my question is it still fun for you? Like making content, and you're doing it for clients. You're helping clients tell their stories. Is there creative juice in that for you?
Yes and no. I mean, burnout is real.
Sure.
I have gone through seasons where I have had to be really honest with myself and set a lot of boundaries. I think that is helpful. I do a really good job of detaching.
Yeah.
So I have no notifications on.
Good for you.
I don't have Instagram notifications, Facebook notifications, TikTok, nothing. And so I think that is helpful. I think that when it becomes very destructive and draining is when you just sit there and you scroll nonstop all day long. And it's just, that dopamine hit of that next video. You just keep scrolling. I think that prevents us from being able to like have our own thoughts and like think of anything that's like original and novel and interesting.
Yeah.
Because we're not giving ourselves time to think. I think that is incredibly unhelpful. And I think that prevents us from being able to be creative, coming up with new ideas and do anything interesting.
Yeah.
So with that said, I think social media is great used in the correct context. I think that if you are somebody who finds yourself like at a stoplight, all of a sudden you're like, let me pull out my phone and look at a TikTok. You're probably on it too much.
Yeah.
You probably need to take a step back.
Okay, Ted, you're not going to know this because Ted's not on TikTok. But I need you to know, Ted, that Margaret Anne is TikTok famous.
I am not.
Yes,
that is
you
not
are.
true. That is not true.
Okay, hang on a minute. Hold up.
What for, though?
So she is so good. She's brilliant at highlighting her mom.
Okay.
And this Southern, what would you call it? How do you explain it? Just, it could be everything from this is how we set the table for any holiday, a birthday, Christmas, something that your mom makes in the kitchen. It's like a Southern highlight of whatever it is you're showcasing.
Yes.
And it's just, I mean, thousands upon thousands upon
We're
thousands.
At millions now.
Okay.
But it's not, I'm not famous, she's famous.
But
let's be clear.
But I find it interesting and fascinating that it's not like, hey, look at me, look how cute I am, and look at what I have on. You're really highlighting something that we all understand because we grew up that way.
Right.
We grew up that way. And it's almost like, are people just intrigued by this old school, like, oh my gosh, this is what your mother does?
Yes.
I think that part to me, I'm like, this is interesting because I just personally love it. A, because I know you and I know your mom. But B, like, I think it's amazing of how you all do holidays and such. But anyway, Margaret Anne is famous on the interwebs.
That's great.
So one of her gifts is just like bringing people together. She is a true Southern hostess, and she comes from a long line of Southern hostesses. So you go to my mom's house, and it's always you sit down at a real table with real place settings, and you cook a meal and enjoy time together. And I think that we have lost that art.
I agree. Yeah.
Everything is fast. We sit on our couches and eat dinner and watch Netflix, and we do not do that at Laura Bird's house. You are going to sit there and have a conversation, tell stories, and enjoy being together. And I'm here for it. Yeah. And I think that I just realized I always thought that was normal. And the older I've gotten, the more I've realized people just don't do that anymore. And so we've had friends over for dinner, and they're like, I didn't realize people still did this. I didn't realize people still set the table. I didn't realize
Kluck does this. Y'all do this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're big dinner people.
Yes. And so I just one day was like, you know what? I'm just going to like make a TikTok about this and like just kind of see what happens. And it kind of blew up, and she got like millions of views. And now it's like kind of a series, and people say like, I want to do this for my family. Like I want us to sit down and have meals and, enjoy time together. And I want to, make a beautiful table just because I can and that kind of stuff. And so I feel like we've kind of adapted the account to just show people how to do that.
So you've answered your own question. This is the redemptive thing about the internet. Like getting people to slow down, detach, come together, showing them the way, showing them the value in it. And then the marketing tie-in for Union, and this can be the end of the show, Fran Thomas, because I know we're getting to time. We're setting the table, all right? Union is the table. Come here for 4 years, conversate, learn some stuff, meet some interesting people. Detach for a little while in good ways, because college is detaching. You're detaching from home and some of those influences, but come be at the table with us. I like it.
I like it a lot.
I love it.
Yeah.
You have such a beautiful story, and there's lots of pieces to your story that I wish we could go on and on and on about. I think we were so blessed to have you as a student, and your imprint is still here and will just live on because of who you are and what you're doing today. To be your age, you're how old, Margaret Anne?
28.
28 years old, and you are accomplishing a lot in a short time. Since you've graduated, I'm really, really proud of you. And
thank you.
Anyway, it's been so fun to catch up with you. I'm so glad that you've been here today.
Well, I am so happy to have been here.
I love it. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to another episode of Let's Talk About That, a Union University podcast. Y'all have a great day. Thank you so much for listening, you guys. We would love to see you on campus for a visit. You can do that online. Schedule it by going to uu.edu and just search Campus Visits. The link is also in the show notes. Okay, maybe you've already visited and you really want to make that application, you want to fill that out. Go do that online as well. And we've got a fee waiver code for you. You will just simply type in the word TALK, all capital letters, TALK, and you will not have to pay that application fee. All right, thanks for listening. Questions? Shoot us an email. Everything can be found in the show notes. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.